now listening to the Gabba Gabba Talks podcast, where we bring you conversations with people connected to the Carolinas underground music scene. Hey there, and welcome to episode 8 of Gabba Gabba Talks. Today my guest is Jonny Dick from Queen City Rejects. He's also been in a whole lot of other bands, which you'll hear about on this episode as well. However, we didn't get around to talking about a lot of his projects, or just barely touched on them. Even into me, we didn't talk about a whole lot. But I'll have Jonny on again later, and possibly have him on with one of his current or former bandmates. Now, this episode was a lot of fun. However, this one doesn't have a whole lot of story to it. There is a bit that I did not get around to at the end where he talks about some tour stories that I may use for something down the road. But me and Jonny know each other pretty well and go back a long way. So this episode turned out to be a little bit more of a conversation and less of an interview. I cut out a lot of little side conversations about work and such. We had a conversation as if I wasn't recording it, and then I had to go back and try to make an episode out of it. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but this episode is going to be a lot of fun. Now, I do want to keep this introduction a little bit short. I've been a little under the weather, which is why this episode is running late. But do want to remind you that you should be able to pick up a copy of Gabba Gabba zine. I dropped off copies at a bunch of places around Charlotte. However, I didn't drop that many copies off at any of those places, so by now they may be gone. If you're still interested in getting your hands on a copy of the zine before I put it online in a couple of months, go to the webpage, gabbagabbahunt.com, click on the zine link, and it'll have the information there on how you can get your hands on a copy. Also, just want to let you know that I think after this week, I'm going to start doing Gabba Gabba Hunt Talks every other week. And on the weeks that I don't do Gabba Gabba Hunt Talks, I'll do Gabba Gabba Hunt Radio. At one point, I thought I could have one of these out every week, and I probably still could. But I'm also learning that I need a break every now and then. And that between work, editing this podcast, working on the zine, playing in my band, and then trying to set up interviews for the podcast, I really wasn't leaving myself with much time for anything else. So my schedule's going to be a little less ambitious going forward, but still with new content every week. I'm sure there's some things that I've forgotten to say in this intro, but my voice is starting to give, so let me go ahead and get right to the episode. Just jump right into podcast, but you came in and I was all about set up, and I know we got plenty of time. I don't really want to record like 4 hours worth of.
But hell, 2 hours is going to be me stuttering. 2
to 3 hours, but I've got Jonny Dick here, and I'm multitasking because I'm putting together the zine. I did a bunch of copies a couple of days ago, but then I sent a bunch out to the fill-ins because they're supporting me through the Patreon already. So I stuck a whole bunch in the mail to them. I was like, here, put them on your merch table, give them out to your friends or whatever. Sent a couple others out to River Monster Records and Hobo Wolfman Records to those dudes.
Yeah, that's the other one.
I still need to send a few more of them out, but I really need to have like 50 of them for tonight. So in between the 10 I took out to the shows last night, took one to Ellen and to Mike and Angela.
I mean,
people are reacting well to it, but last night I kind of felt bad because I only had 10 of them and I ran out of them quick. I was going to be real selective, but then a couple of them got handed to people I wasn't really intending to give them to, and I just wasn't going to take them back because I'm like, that's a good thing. It's getting into somebody's hands that not aware of it already. Instead of me just giving it to somebody going, hey, that zine I've been talking about, here it is. Somebody that wasn't aware of it found out about it last night.
Well, I mean, the cool thing is, hopefully this will replace the phone on the toilet.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So, Jonny Dick, I've known you for quite a while. As a matter of fact, I usually don't call you Jonny Dick. I've gotten into the habit of it lately because that's what everybody else calls you.
Yeah.
But I've known you for quite a while. I always like to start. The first question I ask is, and if you hear a bunch of papers rustling, that's what it is. That's what put it together. But I always kind of like to start like with the music that you play now, because we grew up in North Carolina, and we didn't grow up in the city. I don't think you grew up in the city of Charlotte.
You're from High Shoals.
Yeah, I was gonna say I knew you were from Gaston, Lincoln area.
Yeah. So,
how did you get into the music? How did you discover the music that you play? The type of music you play today? What do you call it? Underground or punk rock or whatever? What led you to that?
Thrasher magazine, pretty much.
That's a pretty common answer.
Thrasher magazine, all those old skate videos. You'd go to the video store. You see like the Santa Cruz, the one Jason Jesse goes to jail.
Yeah,
I forgot what's the name of that. Anyway, he goes to jail for skating, and it's all the music on that. I discovered Agent Orange on one of those, something about skating to Uranus.
Yeah.
and it had Agent Orange on it, and it's like, oh wow, it's not Van Halen, but it's fun.
So were you kind of like me? You were into rock and roll before you discovered punk rock?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's like I have way older brothers. Like my oldest brother is like 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
I still have a cassette tape, Sex Pistols, Never Mind the Bollocks.
Oh yeah.
From when he bought it brand new. I mean, it sounds like doom metal now because it's so slow and draggy. But I still got it, you know. I got that, and you know, from listening to that, and him taking me to shows, going to see. I remember seeing Ted Nugent with him when I was like 1981.
Yeah,
you know, and then you listen to Metallica. You see Metallica, and you'd see their T-shirts, and it's like, oh, okay, well, what is that? Well, who do they listen to?
Very familiar story.
You know, yeah, and then it just starts out, you know, we're not born punk unless, you know,
exactly.
Not back then.
Not really, and just to kind of put this out there, your listeners are probably going to hear that story quite a bit from the guys that I talked to, because I think skateboarding was a gateway for quite a bit of us. You know, it was that was.
Oh yeah.
You know, we maybe heard a little bit about it from here or there. You know, seeing the Ramones on HBO on Rock and Roll High School or something, but it was Thrasher magazine and those ads in the back of it, those videos.
My Ramones love started Sha Na Na.
Oh yeah.
We'd watch like Family Time. We'd watch Mandrell Sisters, Donnie and Marie, and then Sha Na Na comes on.
Yep.
And then, you know, the Ramones. I thought they were like, they looked cooler than Bowser.
Yeah.
Bowser was like the coolest one. And then I was like, oh, I want to try to find them. And then I found one of my older brother's records, and I was like, that looks like the guy from the Ramones, because he had the same haircut. And I put it on, and like, you know, this was 1979. I put it on, and I'm like, this don't sound like them at all.
Yeah.
You know, same haircut, and then as later I found out it's the Loving Spoonful.
Oh, okay.
So, you know,
not a bad band, but not what you're looking for at that time.
Don't judge a book by its cover, you know, or the same haircut.
Yeah.
And then later on, you would just find it. You would, like, your skate buddies, just like, oh, here's a tape. You put it in a boom box, and it's like like the River Monster, you know, compilations.
Yeah.
What compilations are now.
The blasting concept.
It's, you know, mixtapes.
Or mixtapes back then, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much the music I play now is from all that. And, and you know, it does mix in with everything, especially who I got in the band now. It's like Marshall loves Van Halen.
Yeah.
I'm an old Van Halen head.
Oh,
I love Van Halen myself. But we take that, and then we, you know, let's see what if the Ramones played a Van Halen song, or you know, if Slayer played a Ramones song, you know, how would that go about?
It's a really cool thing that you're doing right now. I like your style. It's kind of evolved from where like Enemy and stuff like that. It's just kind of a natural progression that it's always. I wouldn't say that you sound the same as you do now. You definitely don't. It's a different band. But you know, you come from the same place. I think you've kind of used, you know, some of the songs have stuck with you over the years as well too.
It has. I was listening to that No More Excuses, Gimme Enemy, cassette, whatever, and I'm like, oh shit, that's where that riff came from.
Yeah, there's no shame in that. It's punk rock, man.
Hell, I probably stole it from the Go-Go's.
Yeah, there's all the time I play something and I realize, oh, that sounds just like something else. I don't care. I'm playing it. It sounds cool. And we'll figure out a way.
That's, you know, Enemy was my favorite band to be in at the time.
Yeah.
You know, because you know, it was a bunch of us skaters playing music we like. Alan White, who knows what he's doing now. I run into Kerrigan every once in a while.
Yeah.
Childers is doing what he's doing, and you know, I try to carry the torch.
Yeah.
Still with the Enemy thing, but you know, Enemy at 50.
I really wish. Yeah, exactly. Kerrigan was still interested in being seen because he was a great guitar player.
Yeah. Every time I run into him, I'm like, let's do something. Let's do something. Ah, man, I ain't got the time. You know.
Yeah.
He
just, I guess, lost the interest for it, and I get that. Just like my brother just has no interest in playing anymore, and just he likes to play. He just doesn't like to play out.
Well, I mean, from what I hear, he still plays. Kerrigan still plays with Chad.
Yeah, I think they still get together and jam.
But they just jam in the living room.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, I'm not there yet, but I could be.
I don't know that I'll ever get to there. I feel like if I'm playing music, I want to play it for people.
Yeah.
And, that may change one of these days, but. I'm 46. I just turned 46 last week. I'm still doing it.
Right.
So.
Happy birthday!
Oh, thank you. And I think you're just a little bit older. You don't have to say how old you are, but I know you're just a little.
No,
bit older
I'm
than I am.
proud of it. I'm 48. I think 48. Yeah.
So, how old were you around that time that you discovered punk rock through skateboarding? About what age would you say?
15, 16.
Yeah, it's about the same age. As just about everybody I talk to. It comes around that time because I think when you're younger than that, I mean, you had older brothers.
Yeah,
which, like you said, kind of helped. But when you're younger than that, unless you have an older brother, you just don't get exposed to it. And a lot of times when you're that young, even if you have older brothers into it, you're at 10 years old, you're in your own little.
Well, even then, like Sex Pistols wasn't punk rock. I mean, it is, but when my brother was listening to it, it was mixed in with Bruce Springsteen and Allman Brothers, and it was just rock and roll.
Well, that's the way I think when we discovered it, we kind of stuck with that same frame of mind. We still, I always say, like, I say Slayer and Stryper were beside of each other in my cassette case, but also, the Sex Pistols a little bit later on, still beside those two cassettes,
Yeah.
So it's like I never really let go of the old stuff I listened to. There's times where I've distanced myself from it or not listened to it as much. But I've come back around to it.
Oh, I always come back to it, especially when I want to hear like what quality, because never mind the bollocks. Granted, it is what it is, and it's a great sounding record.
I think it's one of the best records ever made.
I mean, just like the production of it.
Yeah.
And I love that. Steve Jones's guitar, the Les Paul and a Marshall.
Talk about life-changing albums. That was definitely one of them. There were a lot of them that hit me around that time, but that one is by far such a stellar album.
Yeah, and hey, you only need one.
Yeah.
Y'all, I'm digging it. I'm digging that whole. And that's what we, from back then, like playing shows with the Accidents, Enemy, 17 Dead, Accidents. And I mean, it's just cool that that's what we were doing back then.
Well, that's what I always say. I look around and all the bands that I see around me. It's like I remember playing with that guy back in 1995. I remember playing with that guy back in 1999. I remember playing with that guy back in 1993. All the people in the bands around us are people that have been playing in bands as long as we have, or almost as long, or longer. I don't want to fuck this name up.
Negulators.
Yeah.
When I found out it was Kudzu Ganja, I'm like, oh shit, it's awesome. I mean, because I was a fan of Kudzu Ganja.
Yeah.
I was a fan. I didn't know those guys. I was like, oh, it's, cool punk rock in Charlotte.
Yeah. Yeah, we met them fairly early when we started going out to shows. We met them, I think, at a 134 show in Charlotte. I'm pretty sure it was at Park Elevator. We talked about this in the podcast. We met them, and then we didn't become friends with them, but we played a couple of shows. Well, I think we did. We played an Armory show with them. One of the Armory shows they played. But they were always a little bit bigger than what we were doing and a little bit more polished than what we were doing. So they got bigger shows, and we just didn't really play with them a whole lot. Paths didn't cross a whole lot after that until like years later. And by the time Semi-Pro came around, and I was like, oh, that's Jeff from Kudzu Ganja. We weren't playing at that time. We were out of it. There's a lot of weird like interlacing there because there was a short period of time where the Accidents weren't active, but we got back together for a few years. So and during that time I was a little bit out of it as well. I mean, I went on shows, just we didn't play with a lot of those bands. But to find out that those guys went back even farther than Kudzu Ganja, because I didn't realize that. At first when I was like Negulators, oh shit, that's those guys from Kudzu Ganja.
Yeah,
I didn't realize, oh shit, that's those guys that played in 30 Foot Beast and Subculture.
See, that's
That's before my time.
Yeah, before my time, and you were saying there's time periods. It's like, oh, because I was in Wilmington for a little bit, and I had no clue of what was going on over here.
Yeah.
I didn't know Milestone had closed. I didn't know Neil had the underground going.
Yeah.
And now there's like that whole area pretty much because of
exactly.
Neil and company.
And then now it's what it is today.
Yeah. I mean, who was telling me that? And it was like, oh, wow, that is true.
Yeah, because I remember him talking about that when I first went over there.
The
first time I went over there, and he was telling me about the place. And he said the plans for it. And the plans for it were what kind of ended up becoming, but it was a lot like a more corporate version of what Neil was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were kind of in the whole planning for all that. But then I think we went in one direction, and they went the other direction and got the Milestone.
Yeah.
So well, I mean, it all worked out.
Again, how it had like the in between, because I remember the underground was going when I was in Wilmington.
Yeah.
And that's what I was hearing that was going on. When they were saying where it was, I'm like, man, that's just a rental space.
Yeah.
At one of the old mills or whatever. I remember seeing Fat Tortoise Butcher playing there.
Yeah.
And that's what I was like, oh shit. And that's cool because Fat Tortoise Butcher, they're another one that still goes. He's getting back together. He's getting it out there.
Yeah.
James Sane.
Yeah, he sent me a message one night, like trying to get me to give him a phone, like call him on the phone that night. I'm like, dude, I'm getting ready to go to bed.
How long ago was this?
It was like right when I first started doing Gabba Gabba, huh? He was like, oh man, I want to talk to you about what you're doing and what I'm doing. And I'm like, all right, man, I'll talk to you sometime. He's like, no, right now, call me right now. I'm like, not going to do that. I'm getting ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, man, you go to bed. And I was like, I haven't heard back from him since then. But, I'd be interested in talking to him. Yeah, man, people don't realize me. I got a business card now. It's got my phone number on there. And now I'm like, after I got it made, I'm like, man, well, I shouldn't even put my phone number on there. I hate talking on the phone. So I guess the first time we played together, or we did play together, didn't we? Did Guppy Love and Popes on Dope ever play together?
I wasn't in the band.
We did. We played at. So you weren't in the band at that time.
Yeah, some cat.
But you were in
Weasel.
Guppy Love at some point.
Yeah, 92.
Okay.
So
that you were in the band before Popes on Dope and Guppy Love had their little spat.
Yeah.
It wasn't really. It wasn't anything really, but it was. Eric got really drunk one night and sort of made fun of him all night. Well, I got that cassette over here, but it's broken, so I've got to try to fix it. But it happened on November 4th of had to be 94 because it was the Crusties. When
I was in the band.
Guppy Love.
I was in the band in 94.
Oh,
yeah, 94.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Crusties, I have a flyer that I made because I didn't know you guys. I didn't know. I made a flyer. It was a Guppy Love, and as a guy with a t-shirt, it's like, I want to be cool like the Crusties.
Yeah.
And then I found out that it's like, oh, wait a minute. I played like for a day.
Yeah.
In the Crusties.
Yeah.
It was.
You told me about that. I
me, a guy named Tracy Eisenhower.
Yeah, I remember that name.
And then a guy named Mike Pitts.
Yeah.
Old skater dude. And we had started. And then right after that, I started a band called Dead Daisies. It was the stupidest name up until on the radio they introduced us as Dead Babies. Because they said it was a 95.1. They said with a band called Fountain of Youth out of Hickory. This is one of those Hickory bands. But on the radio it said it's like coming up with Fountain of Youth and blah blah blah. It's Dead Babies. I'm like, well, that sounds a lot cooler.
Yeah.
And ever since then we were Dead Babies. I had Sean in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy how all this stuff is connected, We all sort of ran in those same circles for all these years.
Yeah.
And still end up getting back together. Some of those members end up playing again later down the road. And
me and James Sane had he's the one, I straight up all credit of introducing me to, he gave me Cause for Alarm, Agnostic Front cassette.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, that's your question earlier. Yeah, skating, but James Sane.
Yeah.
Because he was the local hoodlum. You know, he had quit day school, said fuck this shit, got a job, got his own house at like 17.
Yeah.
You know, but he got his diploma. You got his diploma. But you know, he was the guy that we all went to that had all the, you know, the cool records.
Yeah.
And you know, he was the guy. He was that guy. And he gave me pretty much like Fear, More Beer, cassette tape. Gave me Cro-Mags, Best Wishes.
Yeah.
On vinyl.
Yeah.
And he's like, he taught me how to play bass, even.
Yeah.
You know.
We had we discovered a lot of it on our own, but I didn't have an older. I was the oldest of three brothers. But one of my best friends, Greg, who used to play in the Accidents, the drummer.
Oh, yeah.
He had an older brother, and he's the one that took us to concerts. And
Did he become a porn star?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
But he so Chad would take us to Charlotte and take us to
Chad
Bowen. You probably never met him.
Chad. No.
But because he wasn't into punk rock, he was like into metal. He was into hard rock and metal. So he would take us to like Van Halen or Van Hagar. They're great both times I saw him.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd love to see that lineup again, actually. But he would take us to that, like Robert Plant, Cheap Trick. Then here recently, in the past few years, he's hooked me up with Alice Cooper tickets, so it's all goes back, and it's really cool. But you know, he wasn't into punk rock, but he still helped facilitate some of that because he took us to Charlotte and took us to Repo Records for the first time. It had an S back then.
Yeah.
And I know you knew that, but I say that. I always say that for the sake of the podcast. Like if I say record or records to you know, be sure that I said records because I'm talking about back in the day.
Well, yeah.
So he took us there for the first time, and you know, he started getting into a little bit of that stuff because of us. So we kind of paid it back a little bit. Now he's still mostly into rock music, you know, hard rock, Cheap Trick, Alice Cooper stuff. But yeah, he never was in the scene. I don't even know that he ever came out to an Accident show. That, you know, he moved to Arizona pretty soon after he graduated college. And he lived in Asheville when we were in high school. He went to college. He lived in Asheville. He lived up there. He stayed there, so he never really moved back here. He'd come back for shows every now and then, but he may have seen us play one time. I'm trying to remember if he did or not.
What year?
This was like early 90s. This was before we got involved in the scene. Like when he first started. This was like high school.
What was your first band?
My first band was Style and Johnny Appleseeds, and that was with my friend Matt, and that was Greg was playing drums for that as well. We did that in Greg's basement. We started it up here, but we did it in Greg's basement most of the time. And so Chad would come and he would sit in with us there when he was home from college.
Okay.
But usually we only saw Chad whenever he'd come home from college and take us to a show in Charlotte.
What year was that?
That was 91 when we started the band.
Okay.
So, but he was taking us to shows like, I think as early as 88, 89. The first one I think he took me to was, I want to say it might have been Robert Plant was the first one I went to with him, Robert Plant and Cheap Trick. And then Van Halen, and then Great White,
that Van
Tesla.
Halen, was that at the new Coliseum?
We went to. I'm trying to remember if we saw one of them at the old Coliseum or at the new. I think we saw both of them at the new Coliseum. We saw a couple of shows at the old Coliseum.
The band that opened was a band called Lion.
Yeah,
it had. Is that the one that you went to?
I can't remember who opened up for them. I don't know. I'd have to pull out the ticket. I don't think the tickets say because I think I went back to go look to see one time.
The cool thing about the opening band was wasn't White Lion, it was Lion, and it had Rudy Sarzo's brother playing guitar.
Yeah,
it was during OU 812.
Yeah,
That was
I was at that one. I just didn't remember who the opening band was because I know I was at that one, and I think the For Unlawful Carnage tour as well.
You see, that's where.
See, I was still listening to that stuff. I was still listening to that.
I go back.
The Sex
I listen to it now. And I'm like, oh, why didn't I like it back then?
Pound Cake's a badass song.
Well, I mean, it is. It's all good. Even that fucking.
I'm not real crazy about Finish What You Started. That one's kind of hokey to me, but
that was on. That's OU812.
Was that on OU812? Yeah. I'm really not crazy about OU812 is not that good of an album.
No, it's not.
5150 is good, and For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge is good, but
OU812 is a good song.
Yeah, OU812's got a couple of good songs, and it's mostly crap. I don't know. I can't listen to it. It's the one I cannot listen to now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's way keyboardy.
Yeah.
Way key. And that's where they kind of lost me.
Yeah.
But then years later, I listened to the Carnal Knowledge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is pretty good stuff. And even then, when that Crystal Pepsi song.
Yeah.
What is that song?
Right Now.
That's a good song.
Oh, I like that song.
I mean, it's like
I hated it for a while because you heard it so much, but now I like that song.
But I mean, it's like the piano in it is like it's piano, but it's heavy.
Yeah,
and I didn't appreciate it back then because I was listening to Dead Skin Mask.
Yeah,
I think that was around the same time that came out. You know, so I was listening to Slayer.
Yeah, I was still like Van Halen and Slayer at the same time. I never got too cool for it until like Gary Sharon came through and it's like, okay, screw this. I'm out.
I liked Van Halen, but they were, they went down on the.
Oh yeah, they definitely went down
on the list of listening.
They went down for me even at that point, but they were still. I still love them. But yeah, I was done when Gary Sharon came through. It was like, not changing singers again.
I can't even name, and it's such a waste of a good name of a record too.
Yeah,
because it's like you got Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2.
Yeah,
and what is always called Van Halen 3 is Women and Children First.
Yeah,
but they actually named that Gary Sharon
3,
and it's like you should have.
Don't step on your legacy.
I mean, the one that David Lee Roth did should have been 3.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Don't step on your legacy like that.
Yeah.
But now when they put out that album with David Lee Roth, actually, I like that album.
I do too. But it's all songs from 1978.
Yeah, it is. That was a good thing about it. So
yeah,
it had a little bit too much polish, and I love David Lee Roth, but his shtick wears thin at times, especially the older he got. Well, so what was the first band you started? Whether it was a real band or whether it was just messing around and calling it a band? First band was,
speaking of Van Halen, I named a band that I was in Mammoth Maggots. Because it was MM and it's like, Van Halen's first name was Mammoth. So I was like, Mammoth Maggots. And I wanted to sound like Van. I didn't know. I just put the names together.
Yeah.
Didn't I know one thing on guitar? I actually traded in the first 6 Van Halen records for a Mako guitar.
Yeah.
And stupid. But I got them all back. But
yeah, it's not like they're hard to come by.
Yeah, I got them all back. Marshall actually gave them to me, which is kind of weird. So yeah, I had that Mako guitar. It was like fucking white. I had the poster, Eddie Van Halen playing like this, and I was like, okay, I took that guitar, stripped it down, repainted it at 12 years old.
Yeah.
I hate changing my strings now. But I gutted this thing, took everything out of it.
Yeah.
And then like duplicated the Frankenstein guitar, so we was like Mammoth Maggots, and when we played it sounded like the Germs.
Yeah.
you know, or not
Unintentionally?
even that good, probably, you know, because I didn't know how to tune. I just, you know, put it together and.
Well, just the drums now, they're fucking badass.
Yeah, well, I mean,
More so than some people realize. That was a part of their charm. But,
well, yeah,
it was how trashy it sounded. But.
I mean, it was the thing, but I say that because we sucked.
Yeah,
you know,
I get that. Yeah.
Drummer didn't know. It was so much noise. And then later on, I was like, just, you know, still trying to play guitar, didn't know shit about it. And then I met up with James Sane, and he goes, I need a bass player. And I was like, well, I play guitar. He's like, no, you don't. You suck at guitar. I got a bass player. It was an Area Pro 2 Cardinal.
Yeah.
Like Cliff Burton had. And that's when we started Baden. Badden.
Okay.
And that's when he and I started playing with some guy named Yancey, who had a snare, a high school snare.
Yeah.
You know, it was like awesome because it was just so deep. It was like that was Baden would be that, and then we changed it to Chronic Fate.
Okay.
And then that turned into Chronic Disorder.
Okay.
James took Chronic Disorder and, you know, got a hold of those guys.
Yeah.
And then they started playing. And, you know, then James it's kind of like the Charlotte Scene family tree.
Yeah. I got to track down some Chronic Disorder and play it on the podcast sometime.
Oh, dude. Slack Babbath.
Yeah.
Have you heard them?
Yeah.
Have you heard them?
I've seen them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've seen them play.
I wanted to go to that show.
I didn't get to see them this last time, but I saw them one time last year. But,
yeah, Doug Knipes with them.
Yeah, exactly. That's I want to see. I really want to see that.
Dude, he is like in the middle of Ozzy and Zakk Wylde.
Yeah,
he that vocal range.
Yeah,
you know, because you know how Zakk Wylde can sound kind of like Ozzy.
Yeah,
and then you got Ozzy who sounds like Ozzy. And then Doug Knipes like right in there.
Revolution in their minds, the children start to march against the world in which they have to live, and all the hate that's in their hearts. They're tired of being pushed around and told just what to do. They'll fight the world until they've won, and love comes flowing through, yeah.
And that's where I went to Dead Babies, and then he started Fat Tortoise Butcher. I just started playing with him again, and
I thought you played with him for a little while as well.
I think there's some other bands in the middle. Oh yeah, the Guppy Love thing.
Guppy Love, and then was that like the next big thing that you did, or the next?
That was after I got out of jail.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no, that was 94. Wow.
Do you still have a copy of that?
I ain't got shit.
I've got a few things.
This is that's cool. That was recorded in Newton, I think.
We got that. Remember 7 Foot Spleen?
Yeah. Who'd they turn into?
The Sound. At least one of the dudes plays in the Sound now.
Blue Cassette.
Ooh, I got this.
Who was that?
That's Pure Hate.
Oh shit! Hell yeah, Dwayne Hate.
Robins and the Style Kings. Robins weren't from here, but
No, I had one of their T-shirts.
I have an enemy around here somewhere. It must be in another box.
I gave all my Enemy cassettes to Justin, so he could put it all online and do that for me. And now he's gone, and I don't know where that stuff is.
Yeah. What the stuff that I've got, I started digitizing it, but I realized that I've got like an impedance issue, and sometimes there's some interference in it. But when I get a really good recording of it, I want to like put that stuff out on cassette again. If
That
you're
would
cool
be-
with it. I mean, we might want to talk to Alan and all them about it, make sure they're cool with it. But,
Yeah.
so I guess 17 Dead was like the precursor to Enemy because it's sort of the same band with just a different singer.
Well, you see that, yeah. Well, the weird thing was me and Alan's brother, Eric, was going to start a band. Fuck yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
The same with the Enemy stuff. I mean, once I get it digitized and get a good copy of it, you're welcome to it because it was your stuff. It's, I understand that.
Yeah.
I like to have my old stuff. I know some people aren't sentimental about it, but
I don't have anything.
You got a son too, so it's cool to have that stuff too.
That's what I need to. Yeah, I want to pass that down,
Yeah.
and that's the. But used to, I never thought about it. It's like, oh man, I like shirts. Last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here, have mine.
Yep.
I've never been, but yeah, no, that was the fuck was I saying? But no, yeah, me and Eric was playing. He was wanting to be a singer, vocalist, and I came in because this was right after Guppy Love.
Yeah.
Because Eric was a fan of Guppy Love.
Yeah.
Eric White. And that's where I met Jason Parker. I have Who Has.
Okay.
Because he was going to play guitar, but he sucked. Then I showed him a couple of things. And fucking Orange Ibanez. I think it had the handle on it.
Yeah.
And then, Alan was saying, oh, we need a bass player. I was like, all right, cool. That's where I can't remember who I replaced. I want to say Weasel in that too.
Yeah.
But that's where I met Billy and Robert. And,
Yeah.
from that, we just 17 Dead.
You're the fucking rat. I eat your trash. You can kiss my ass, yeah. Run, let it be. Run to the free. Run and live my life my way. Run and be the fucking way.
I'm still playing some of those songs, I think.
Yeah.
So
I haven't listened to this one in a while. I just found it the other day and I was like, oh, I gotta actually listen to that.
that's a combination of punk rock and LSD.
Yeah. Side B is a cheap live recording at the Milestone. I remember we played some shows with 17 Dead real early in the Milestone. I guess like right before we started playing shows with Enemy, not long after that.
And it's the same band.
Yeah, it's the same band basically, just without Billy and had Chris Kerrigan.
Yeah, and we didn't want to like
because you even have like the logo on the inside is pretty much. You think you reused that for Enemy, or kept using it?
Oh, the face. Yeah.
Or one similar to it at least. Yeah, every time I've done a podcast so far, I've kind of had it's been a story where we start at the beginning and go to the end, but I kind of don't mind if it jumps around a little bit or we get off track or we talk about.
Well, I mean,
like,
that's when was the last first time you guys played Milestone? Was it with the Accidents or
it was with
did
the
you play there
Accidents.
before?
No, we played the first time was with the Accidents. It was one of those, I think, a Ripple show
Yeah.
when they had like 12 bands or whatever play, and they started at 4:00 in the afternoon or something like that. And then they wanted you to sell tickets for it. So we did play a show where they wanted to sell tickets, but guess what? We didn't sell any tickets. We still played though.
Yeah. Well, what slide did you get?
I think we played kind of early.
Yeah.
But we had been around for a little while, and they already knew that. So I think that gave us a little bit of clout on it. As far as, okay, we're not going to make these guys sell tickets. I mean, Bill Flowers wanted us to, but Ryan was like, okay, you guys can play, whatever.
Yeah, well, I remember doing Ripples before Ryan, but still, it was just like selling, like you got these big rolls of tickets. It's like, that was just crazy. Yeah, those shows, the Ripple shows, they would play outside too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That was a good time.
It was good times. But I think after that, I don't think we ever got asked to sell tickets before.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was maybe one of the last ones they did like that, but the scene sort of took off around that time. There were a lot of kids in the scene. And,
yeah. I think the Ripples were dying out, but just that's where the 4-band bill kind of started kicking in. And,
Yeah.
You know, but still, it was good turnouts. Good turnouts. 5 inches.
Yeah. They were really good.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, so like, okay, I'm losing my train of thought here now. Oh, before we played Milestone, I don't really remember why we didn't play those very early days when Bill Flowers reopened it. Like before Ryan got on there. And I don't remember how we actually got onto that first one. I know it was Saunders or somebody. I did a lot of the booking back then, but Saunders or somebody booked that one. And I just don't remember how all that came to be. But before that, we had been playing at Heretics all the time. 'Cause we could get shows out there pretty easily. Chris Wilson worked out there. He liked us. He booked us out there.
Where's he at now?
He lives here in Kings Mountain somewhere, but
really?
I hadn't seen him in years.
He's another one of those. It's like you'd see him at Heretics or
he's in one of those pictures, one of those anti-scene pictures that I was just showing you.
I think he worked at the Mexican pizza place.
Yeah,
off of Central.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Heretics was our first or my first show, and that was with the Fountain of Youth.
Yeah,
the Dead Daisies or Dead Babies Fountain of Youth.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird because they had the Snap Crackle of Pop elves
as their logo. Yeah,
one of those bands. It was pop punk. We were still shit.
I guess Heretics was our first real club show that we ever played.
Yeah.
And then because we tried to get a show at the Milestone, but Penny just said we weren't good enough. But keep working, keep practicing, and you know I get that. But I go back and I listen to the stuff that we let her hear, and it's not that bad.
Yeah.
So she just had a little bit higher standards, which is okay. But you know, nowadays pretty much anybody can get a show. That first show on a Tuesday night, but I don't think they did a whole lot of Tuesday nights back then. I think it was mostly weekends, unless they had a pretty big band come through.
Yeah.
You know, a decent sized traveling band.
My first time playing Milestone was on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or, it was definitely a weekday.
I think the first time we played Heretics was probably a weekday. I know we played out there on weekdays.
Oh, you had to.
I've got flyers.
You had to audition on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then you could play later on that month.
Yeah. I can't remember. It's just been so long. It's just, I don't remember how all that got started, honestly. I keep trying to think. And one of these days I'm hoping to get Saunders on here. And talk to him about those days, because he probably has a better memory of all that stuff than me and Eric do, because he didn't drink quite as much as we did. He did for a little bit, but not long.
Yeah.
He stopped doing that pretty quickly or pretty early. So he's probably got a better memory of all that, unless he's just forgotten.
Mine's very selective. There's like some stuff. Yeah, you were there. You were at that, and it's like, where was I at? Probably in a corner.
Yeah.
I was always. That was my thing. That's why, like, a lot of people just, I'm just the guy in the corner. Just that's how I've always been.
I was always pretty social back then, but I'm a lot more social now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could go into why I am. I know why I am, but just has to do with the medications I was on for years. That kind of stifled a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's just to make a long story short. Now, all of a sudden, between going through some stuff last year that just kind of had me in a funk to breaking out of it, and then all of this kind of coming to fruition. And
well, I mean, this helps you get out there too.
It really
and it helps. It helps. You're helping us help you help us.
Yeah, but I mean, it's good for me mentally, and it's also good because I couldn't have done this a year ago because I was not as easy to. I couldn't go out and talk to people as easily.
Yeah.
I wasn't as outgoing a year ago. If I would have had to have done all this a year ago, I would have taken a handful of them and I'd have put them on the table and then hope people picked them up.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be handing them to people and talking to them about it and asking them, why they, like last night, some girl came up to me. So she saw that somebody else had it. She looked at it. She came over and she just started talking. I saw the zine you did. That's really cool. And I was like, I once said I didn't have it anymore. I'd give her a copy of it. She's like, that's cool. And she just kind of stood there. And it was like real awkward. But I was like, so are you from around here? What, how'd you get into the... I started just asking her, what do you like about the scene? You come out to shows quite a bit. Because I just want to I want to see what drives people to listen to music. And because How do you get people to listen to music these days?
I was going to ask you how old was
She seemed pretty young.
Yeah.
Yeah, she seemed pretty young. That's why I asked her, because I was curious, how did young kids get into it? But I think she was fans of new Boo Hags somehow.
Yeah, okay.
Which, by the way, Boo Hags fucking excellent, man. If you haven't seen them,
all right,
they are badass.
I've been seeing their name a lot.
They are so good. That's why I love a Milestone show, because Milestone, I might have to pay to get into Milestone, which I don't mind paying a cover charge.
Yeah.
I remember we used to have to pay a cover charge all the time. I don't mind paying a cover charge. It's just 30 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
I go to Tommy's or Skylark or something. That's 45 minutes, and I got to deal with a lot more traffic. I'll still go, but it's not like I have to just hop in an Uber and ride a few blocks.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of work, but it's.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, like, long time ago, hey, who's playing at the Milestone? Doesn't matter, we're going.
Yeah.
We hop in the car and drive that, because, again, I lived at the butt end of Lincolnton. I mean, it was a good minute to drive there, but we still, just got and go.
Yeah.
Now it's like, who's playing? It's like, oh, where are they at?
Yeah, I remember that. You go and you see, it didn't matter who was playing. You'd go out there, and if the bands weren't that great, you would stand there and watch them, and you would clap, and you would just enjoy it because they were playing live music, and it was something to do, and you got to hang out with your friends while you were doing it.
I mean, I'll still do it. I mean, it's a crapshoot, but I mean, hey, you find new stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like go to a Milestone on a Thursday. You never know what
Cool thing about Charlotte, though, is there's so many really good bands that pretty much any night of the week you can find somebody is playing somewhere. And so you're always going to at least know one of the bands, probably, or at least know of one of the bands.
Yeah.
But on any given night, sometimes it's hard to choose where you want to go, because there's always, like, the night, and I hated to do it because I hate going to shows and, like, skipping out. But I saw you guys play, and I was like, okay, I think I can get to Milestone in time to see Vortex Full Men.
Yeah.
But that night, I was like, I wanted to be in both places. I couldn't, but I've made it happen. I just didn't get to see all the bands.
I mean, is it a good thing or a bad? I mean, because back then we didn't have a whole lot to choose from.
Yeah.
You had Tabloids, Heretics, Milestone, Tremont, and a couple other.
But everybody kind of did their own thing, and the scenes didn't. Like, Jeremiah's was a pretty much metal club.
Yeah.
Fremont had bigger bands. When they opened up Casbah, they started having smaller bands. But Milestone really catered to the punk scene and the younger the younger punk scene, the bands that weren't quite ready for Tremont sometimes.
Yeah.
And then like I remember we got into Tremont, and everybody ended up getting in there. I Have Who Has played there. We played I Got a Flyer. We played a show with my so-called band there. It's just us two, just a 2-band bill.
Yeah.
Imagine that. I think on a Saturday night even. Imagine that. At Casbah.
Yeah.
Man, those were the days.
Oh, yeah. We
and people would come out for them.
Yeah. We played Tremont, the big room. I think we were playing something like something that had like a bunch of bands.
Yeah,
on
we
it.
played a festival out there.
But it was 100 people there or so, but it looked like there was like 25.
Yeah.
I was just like,
We got to play the big stage a few times. One time was opening for the Toasters. That was the first time. That was our first time we played Tremont.
Okay.
And Greg and Saunders were both sick that day and tried to cancel the show. And I was like, we're not canceling the show because I want to be asked to play Tremont again.
Yeah.
So we played like
Toasters.
Yeah, we played like 4 songs, 5 songs, and then they were like, we're done.
Yeah.
But we did it, and then they invited us back. And then I think we played with Archers of the Loaf next time. We got to play the big stage again. Then they opened up Casbah, and we got to start playing. That was much better for us. Although with Archers of the Loaf, that was a pretty good crowd that was there.
Yeah. That was...
I don't know how much they dug the accidents, but...
Like, what you guys are doing now reminds me of that indie, like a little edgier than Super Chunk but
Yeah.
it's like it's real.
Yeah.
It's like North Carolina real.
Yeah, that's what it is. North Carolina. North Carolina's always had a way of kind of keeping it real. And the music always, it's always just a little extra. Like it's like whatever it is, it's rock and roll, but it's more. It's bigger. It's better.
Yeah, yeah.
It's,
I
hate to say the word sometimes, but ballsier in a way.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of I don't know. Some people won't like that term, but whatever. It is what it is. And it works. It fits what I'm trying to say.
I guess that's why I say real.
Real.
In a politically correct world.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But it's real. I mean, you get what you get, and that's why it's like every time I hear it, it's like that's awesome. Every time you guys play live, like down to the like what are we doing next? Whatever, it's like it's real.
Yeah.
And it's a show. That's awesome. I said it one time, it was like we have limitless needs to get to music now, but who's going to listen to it?
Yeah. Because they have so many other options right there in their hands, including the entire library of every band they've ever liked.
Yeah.
So, what am I going to listen to today? Am I going to listen to Velvet Underground or am I going to listen to Van Huskins? Well, that Velvet Underground record's a classic.
Yeah.
I love that record. I'm listening to that or whatever they choose, And then they get distracted with Baby Yoda or whatever else they're watching or whatever meme. And the whole time it's like there's so much good stuff right here in our backyard. That
world of distraction.
Endless distractions.
Yeah.
And it don't matter where you're at. You can be at a show. And I mean, I'm guilty of it. I pull my phone out. Usually what I do is I take a couple of pictures and then I try to post it on Instagram real quick and hit post to Facebook so it all goes out and people know that I'm out seeing this band and this is the band I'm seeing and this is the band you should come see.
I try to do that.
And then I try to put my phone away.
I forget about it.
But you look around and you see people scrolling through Facebook while bands are playing, and you see people texting while bands are playing. And again, I'm guilty of probably every now and then get a text and I look down like, oh, I need to respond to this real quick.
Yeah.
But you see people just in their phone.
I mean, you hear about, but are they actually doing it? It's like people are putting down their phones a little more, a little longer.
I'm trying to.
I myself am. I mean, since we got Daigle on vocals, I'm going to become a hermit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, because he's
he can
like
be your promotion machine.
Huh?
He can be your promotion machine.
Yeah, he's like he loves doing that shit. Yeah. He loves getting, and I do too, to an extent.
Yeah.
I mean, even this right here is kind of like, oh, it's intense. Because I don't even like to hear myself talk.
Yeah.
I'll sit here and have a conversation with somebody, and I'll start trailing off because I'm losing interest in what I'm saying.
You asked if that was a good thing a while ago. I wanted to get back to this.
Yeah.
About how on any given night, you might have, say, Queen City Rejects playing one show and Vortexville Men another. Like we just use an example from the other night. Is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? I think ultimately it's a good thing. The bad thing is there's not enough people that go out to shows to really support all of it at the same time enough.
Yeah.
There was a pretty good crowd at both shows, but both shows... And that wasn't a great example of crossover night. I would think more like so there was a night I think that Van Huskins played, and was it Knowing Your Control or Commonwealth or somebody that was like another band that we play with all the time.
Yeah.
Where our fans are the same fans. On those nights, then the crowd really gets split.
Oh yeah. Well,
a lot of times, unfortunately, it's the bands that are playing at the place that doesn't have a cover charge that actually gets the better crowd.
I think. We played a show it was at Tommy's, like close to Christmas, and we realized, I don't know how close to the show it was. It was Milestone's 50th anniversary, and Anti-Scene's playing, and it's like we're over here at Tommy's. It's like. But it was still a good turnout. It was cool. It was great. It was.
I get surprised every now and then that when you have a good turnout, when there's something like that going on, because you always think, oh, there's nobody's gonna come out.
Yeah.
But you can be in Tommy's and have 15 people show up, and it feels like a pretty
that's
good
also
turnout sometimes.
another thing I'm trying to learn how to do is appreciate who's out there.
And not worry about who's not there.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I do like that. I'll be playing a show, and at the end of the night, I'll go home. And I'll get home and get down and lay down in bed before I realize, oh, yeah, so-and-so didn't show up. And they said they were coming out. Oh, and they didn't come. Because I don't think about it while I'm there. In the moment, I'm actually just enjoying who's there.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about who's not there because it's not... I don't expect everybody to be out there.
Yeah.
Even people that say they're going to be there, I know things come up. I know sometimes those things that come up are just, I don't feel like getting off the couch tonight. I'm at that age. I understand that.
Yeah. I get off work and I'm just like, I'm lucky if I'm taking a shower.
That was kind of like that. What happened when we were talking about that Slack Babbath show? I wanted to go, and it was a combination of being swamped with everything else, but also just the fact that I got off work at 8 o'clock, and I was going to have to turn right around and drive to Charlotte like I did last night.
Yeah.
But last night I did it. Like just last week, I just couldn't muster up the energy to do it, and it was good because ultimately I finished this right in time. And so I needed to stay home that night. Yeah. And if I had went out last Friday, I probably would have been home last night. So, you have to pick and choose there. But, I think it's good that we have that much talent. I'll put it that way. It's good that we have that much talent in the scene, and it'd be a lot better if more people would come out and support that, especially on a Friday or Saturday night. There's really not. It's kind of sad that sometimes there's really good shows on weekends that nobody shows up to.
Even home has so much distractions.
Yeah.
Because you can watch Baby Yoda or whatever, and it's like, oh, that's better than dealing with humans.
Yeah.
Dealing with real people. Granted, a lot of real people are shit. You got to look and find the positive of going out and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Enemy just a little bit, and then we'll talk, I guess, after that. What'd you do after Enemy? You played Fat Tourist Butcher again for a little bit? Or did you play with him again? Or was it Wilmington after that?
It was after Enemy. I did a little bit with a band called Down for the Count.
Oh, yeah.
With Ben.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot. Me and Ben said that when I talked to you, we would have to talk about Down for the Count. But we'll talk about Enemy just a little bit real quick, because I want to play in some Enemy on this. This episode will be kind of all over the place.
Yeah,
and it'll be more of a conversation between me and you than any one I've had so far. Because every other one I've had is always supposed to be a conversation, but it always sort of tells a story.
Yeah.
And goes kind of chronologically from this is what I did to this, and then this is what I did to this. And we've jumped around all over the place. Now I'll fix some of that in editing, but not all of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Might just leave bits here and there of us talking about, because I think some of the stuff we're talking about is just as important as history. And I'll probably have you on again sometime. We'll talk more about the Vivians and Cemetery Thieves. And one thing I'd like to do is I'd like to get Dwayne on here. But he probably won't want to come on here by himself, but maybe if I can get him and you together or something.
Maybe.
I thought about that, because then we could really talk about Cemetery Thieves a little bit, Queen City Rejects, because he's a part of a lot of that.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those things like 17 Dad and Enemy. It's pretty much the same band.
Yeah.
Hell, it's Queen City Rejects is pretty much NME.
Yeah.
I still play Independence Day and a couple other ones, and just carries on. It's like when Dwayne was Dwayne and Brent was playing, because both of them Pure Hate. I was trying to get us to do a Pure Hate cover.
Yeah.
Just to bring it. That's pretty much the whole Queen City Rejects. It's more than just a band.
Yeah.
We all Charlotte Rejects.
Yeah. Yeah, because we don't live in Charlotte.
We don't live in Charlotte, but it's back then. That's where we all congregated.
Yeah. Dwayne was a big part of me getting. That's why I want him on here, is because he's a big part of our music entry into playing and everything.
Yeah.
Because he played in Pure Hate. We hooked up with them and played at that practice place they had. Did that show out there, and like at that time, Dwayne was he's a metal guy. He knew metal, and he played metal. But like with us all hanging out together, Dwayne and Tommy like went from being metal guys to all of a sudden they were like into punk rock and John Spencer Blues Explosion and Dexter Romweber and all this stuff that they hadn't heard.
Yeah.
But we all discovered it together. It was we'd find it and be like, oh man, you got to hear this.
It was guitar nerd rock.
Yeah. And like we'd go record shopping and it was just like it was when we first started getting into music. Like when me and Matt first started getting into music, we'd go to Camelot and pick up tapes and be like, I'm buying this and I'm buying this.
Yeah.
But now it was me and Dwayne, or me and Tommy mostly going record shopping. But now it was me and Tommy would pick up something and I'd pick up something and we'd make tapes for each other or make mixtapes and stuff. And so we kept doing that on into our, late 20s or mid 20s. Well, we definitely want to talk about, so we'll skip over, I guess, a lot of that. We'll maybe do that sometime. Because I do, Vivians, I don't think I ever saw you guys, but that was Vivians, well, at least worth mentioning. You played in the Vivians in Wilmington, right?
Yeah.
That was you and Jason Parker.
Jason Parker, James Yop.
Jason's another one I want to get on the podcast too, so we can talk about.
Oh yeah,
and then we can pick up and talk more about Vivians at that point.
Yeah, he's got some good stories.
So he'll be a good guest.
He remembers stuff that I don't remember, or he's got the better story of something stupid I did or he did, or
I could tell he'd be a good guest to have on here.
Yeah, but the Vivians it actually started out with Alan. Alan played guitar for a minute in the Vivians.
Did that start in here, and then you moved to Wilmington and took it with you?
Yeah, we started here, and then we just was like, this was around the time that nothing was going on. Yeah, nothing was happening. We just like, I moved out there to try to get clean and ended up just becoming a bigger drunk.
Yeah.
But did some good stuff with that. We had James Yop, Andrew Christian, Ben McCoy, and Chris Parker were all in that whole Wilmington Vivians thing. That was fun for what I remember. Now, again, a lot of that is kind of black. I went in awake, came out like, what the fuck just happened? In 2004. And then I came back here, started Hate the Living, and that was a minute. That was with Phil Chambers and Sean from the three of us from the Fat Tortoise Butcher, and we did that for a little bit, and from there it just turned into Cemetery Thieves. Or no, wait a minute, there was something else.
And when did you meet Justin? Was that?
Justin.
You've known Justin for a long time, or?
No, Justin. I met Justin around 2006.
Okay, so that was around that time.
That was right after Rusty Deluxe. I forgot I was okay in that. Fucking band whore.
Well, I said one time, it was funny. We were talking about how you seem to play in a band with just about everybody in the scene. And the only reason me and you haven't played in a band together is because we both play bass.
Yeah, exactly. That's
But you've been involved in a lot of projects. You played with a lot of different people. I mean, even the projects you've had, there's been a rotating cast. I think back to when we started with Popes on Dope, which became the Crusties, which became the Accents. Each time we just had a band name change because we had member change, lineup change. Yeah. But we would keep some of the same old songs and add new stuff and kind of, just get better.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we built off of what we had. It seems like you kind of did some of that. As we went
Yeah,
along.
and I mean, some of it's like from 17 Dead to Enemy, it's like some good songs. I mean, from back then to like I wrote Independence Day in 1989 because I thought I was going to get drafted or some stupid shit because we went to war with some little country or something.
Yeah.
Whatever that was. And it's like, I'm like 17, 18. And I'm like, oh shit, you know, and then I was like, but even that, I wanted it to sound like the Ramones. You know, I was ripping off the Ramones straight up. But it came out however it sounds now. Yeah. You know. But you know, stuff like that, it's still fun to play. Yeah. I mean, that's why I do, you know, all those old songs, and it'd be cool to get together with, you know, Childers and get him to do some songs, and it's a way to keep what I've done still going. Yeah. You know. From 17 Dead to Queen City Rejects, I mean, it's all the same. I mean, it's just rock and roll. You know, how I met Marshall and even Justin, he was in Mean Man and the Brass Knuckle Band with Rick Shirley. Okay, you know him? No, I don't recognize him. He was G.G. Allen bud. Okay. He was actually on that one of those talk shows. As whatever. But he had Mean Man and the Brass Knuckle Band, and then that later turned into Honey Harlow's. Yeah. I was a young boy, my mama told me, son, when you see the devil coming, you better turn and run. Now it's been years, it's not much but wait. Now it seems I'm thinking deeper every day. Devil made me do it. Devil made me do it.
Know about them because of Justin. You told me he played with them.
Yeah. And then you know, from that was in between him, you know, in and out Cemetery Thieves to coming back and it was Queen City Rejects because I wanted him in the band, and I was like, well, you play bass. Yeah. Justin has played in Cemetery Thieves, Queen City Rejects. He has played bass, guitar, and drums. Yeah. in whatever lineup it was, he was my, like, you know, oh, I want to hear horns in this, and he was like, oh, that's a good idea, or no, that's no. Yeah. And I would listen. You know, he was my voice of reason. Yeah. He was my Quincy Jones.
He seemed like a really good guy. I didn't know him well enough, but every interaction I ever had with him was just, he was a great guy.
Yeah. He's fucking missed every day.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that's one reason why I'm still going. I'll find anybody. That's why, you know, I got David Berryhill back. You know, because it's like David was a part of something that Justin was a part of. And you know, it's like I want that connection. Yeah. You know, I've known David since Down for the Count days. Yeah. You know, he was our band bitch. He had a big van and carried our shit. Yeah. You know, we'd pay him or do whatever, you know, got him to shows. Yeah.
Get him to shows, yeah.
Yeah. And then he was, you know, became my drummer.
He's a good drummer, too.
Yeah, he's fucking solid. We were doing some mix over at Steve's. A couple of guys, it was the day, it was, what's his name from the fill-ins?
Oh, Mikey.
Yep. From the fill, yeah. And one of the guys from Violent Life, Violent Death, was over there just listening to the mix, and they were both like, who's your drummer? Yeah. And I'm like, it's my unicorn. It's like, you can't have him. Yeah. You know.
Everybody wants to know who the drummer is.
Yeah. It's like, and weird thing, this is his only band. He actually he stepped in last year when we had that show with Anti-Scene.
Yeah.
After that, he was like, that was the only thing he was going to do. Then we got Doug in for a little bit. Then David came back, and then we recorded. He was like, let me be on the recording. I got some cool ideas further, and then just picked up, and now we got Matt Daigle on it, and it's like the morale has I guess that's the right word.
That'll free you up a little bit because I know you don't really care to sing too much, and
I never liked it. I never liked doing vocals, and it's like I only started it because I couldn't find a Sean and I couldn't find a Jason.
Mm-hmm.
To the like local singer vocalists that I like.
Yeah.
And that's why I only did it, because I was like, fuck it, I'll do it till I find somebody, and then I got stuck with it.
Yeah.
But now with Matt coming in, it opens up all kinds of cool stuff.
We all fight to stay alive. We fight to survive. No one wins, no one's wrong. We fight to stay strong. We all fight. We all fight.
You talked about Justin quite a bit on the Bad Seed podcast.
Yeah,
with Scotty, and that was I was just looking that up. So if anybody wants to hear a little bit more about Justin and Queen City Rejects, Bad Seed podcast is a fun podcast to listen to. But it was episode, I don't think it has an episode number. It's just Queen City Rejects, and it was released January 17th, 2019. So a year ago, before we played that show at Freeman's last year.
Far after.
Yeah, it was right. It was right after, because I think he released it like right before that Freeman's show.
Oh, okay.
So it was in that week afterward.
Scotty Unloved. Our record, the whole thing is named Run 'Em Out, titled by Scotty Unloved Jones.
Yeah.
Because when we were on there, I think that's you could hear it on that. I'm like, oh, I'm taking that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's we're gonna use that, and it'll definitely be dedicated to Justin. And
yeah.
We do have a song that we're gonna put on that he and I recorded.
Yeah.
Because he got me through when I was in a wreck. 2013, I was fucked up, and like pain medication. He would just come over and get me stoned.
Yeah. And
had a 4-track. It was like smoke this and play.
Yeah.
And we came up with some of the craziest music, and one of those songs is going to be on it. It's another take of Acid Drop.
Yeah. Is that one of the ones you sent to me, that music you sent that you and Justin did, or is that something different?
Yeah. It was where it's all Louis Armstrong sounding. Yeah.
I thought I'd heard that.
I was so ripped out of my gourd. I mean, I was just whoo. But it's a way to keep whatever him in the realm of it.
Do you have any idea of when you're going to release the Queen City Rejects stuff and how you're going to release it, or is it still all up in the air?
Well, it's kind of in the air. We're gonna go through John and Mystery School.
Okay.
And he's going to help us in whatever platform he wants to do.
Yeah. And
I'm like, I'm cool with it. I threw out the idea of cassettes, and he ate it up.
Yeah. People seem to say that cassettes sell these days. It's the novelty of it.
I'm not going to turn it down, because if it's a way to get a physical way to get the music to you, mm-hmm. it's whatever. I'll come to your house and sing it to you.
And whenever you do all that, we'll make sure you gotta get it online, so you can put a download code in with it and everything. Yeah. That's how most people are gonna have to listen to it. Most people don't even have a cassette player anymore.
Like I said, I'm still with Reverb Nation on the first one, and it's just out there. It's out there, and it's free, and it's out there.
Yeah.
I just get to get people to hear it. With this one, we're going to try to take it a little more serious, especially with having Matt in the band, because he's that guy. He likes to take the reins and you know, do something with it. You know, I'm just stupid. When it comes to anything like that, I'm just, oh no. But hopefully right at the beginning of summer is when we're trying to get it out. We were going to put it out a little earlier because how we recorded it, I wanted it to be as raw as it can be.
Yeah.
But, you know, now we got, we're in Fifth Man Studios, and just touching that, just, you know, fixing what needs to be fixed, making it, you know, Steve Coleman is Rick Rubin. He's like, we're gonna get their best Queen City Reject record we can make.
Yeah.
So we're keeping everything we recorded, but just making it better.
Yeah.
We're spending a little more time on it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think for what you guys did, I mean, you did like 7 songs in about 3 hours and just knocked them. And it was actually a lot shorter amount of time than that, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You were there. Yeah.
But it's the end result sounded good, so I'm really excited to hear what, you know, the touched up and the new vocals. I've heard a little touch of it, but it's not been mixed, so it's.
Well, I mean, there's some stuff I don't want to mess with because it's like, you know, whatever weird note that somebody hit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's gold.
Oh, there's a lot of that in Van Huskin stuff.
You know, and
sometimes it's not gold, but it's like, yeah, it works.
and you know, and it's like having Matt come in and redo the vocals. It's just going to be better because you get a different voice over it, but you also get like just clearer and more. What's the word? He makes. You can understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys have any shows? I mean, I know you got some shows coming up, but anything you want to coming up in the near future you want to?
Coming up, our next one is at Freeman's, March 28th.
Yeah, sounds right.
That's with Naculators and Something
Sweet.
Went Wrong.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to get those guys over there, so it's good that they're going to be playing.
Yeah.
And Regulators, they've played there before. I know there's people in Gastonia that loved them the first time they played. So
yeah.
That's all. I'll be there.
Yeah, that's March 28th, and it's at Freeman's, our backyard.
Yeah.
You'll hear the stuff that's coming out on the record, but hell, half of that stuff's 10 years old. But we got some new stuff coming out. We're going to have new songs with Matt's input on it. Going to be brand new.
Yeah.
Brand new for you.
I know you got I was looking at here on Facebook just to see your upcoming events, but I guess June
11th, we're either June 11th or June 13th. We're in Virginia with Murder Junkies.
Oh, I see. June 12th was Locomotive Gun, Queen City Rejects, Call Him Dead. That was one. Where is that one at? Oh, it's Tommy's.
That's Tommy's, yeah.
Yep. So that would definitely want to say something about that one. This will be released pretty soon, so it's a ways off. But.
Yeah.
And then June 13th, that was the one I saw down here.
One of those we're in Virginia, the other one we're in Charleston.
Yeah.
But all 3 shows is with Locomotive Gun.
Yeah.
And the guy in that used to be in they may still be around, great beatdown band, Down to This.
Okay. Where are they from?
I want to say Coastal.
Okay.
From Coastal Way.
Yeah.
I'm not good with directions.
I'll look them up.
But yeah, it's like we played a couple of shows with Down to This. I want to say they're out of Carolina. They're North Carolina.
Yeah, they're South
sure.
Carolina. Let's see. They have an about section. They probably do. Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Jacksonville. I was wanting to say Wilmington, but I knew it was somewhere around in there. Good guys. Fucking, they're real. That should be a fun little 3-day run. Where I'm at, I mean, I've I've done tours, and some people, I mean, they still get out there and they fucking do
love
it.
And I'd like to at least just experience 3 days on tour.
That's probably my limit nowadays. Just because I'm not a homebody, but I am.
Yeah.
With something like this, regional, I mean, you could be home within the next day.
Yeah.
So it's stuff. It's still fun. It's still fun to get out there, and but just those long trips, I ain't got it in me anymore.
Yeah.
Just some people they do. Some people they love getting out there, getting on the road, and I did. I'm just.
Is there anybody in this place you could vouch for to give me a ride home?
Fair lady. Safe. It's death proof.
Yeah, well,
and for the record, Enemy did beat the Accents in basketball, so
by 1 point, and I think that was Childers because I was just there as a wall, a very short wall, but I was there with my can of Foster's.
This has been a Gabba Gabba Hunt Media production.